So it's that time again, and here's some sneakers for July. And I looked through a good amount of different trainers and lists online to sort of compile these. And it's more the kind of ones that I suppose, that interested in, or probably going to be sort of popular or in demand. So here's a rundown. So first up is the Nike releases. And then on July the 1st, we've got the Nike Air Max 90 Drift. This seems like an adapted model from Nike. It's basically taking the Air Max 90 and it looks like they've kind of squared it off. It looks okay to me, not something that I'm too interested in. I'm more of an OG fanatic with this kind of stuff, so to me these kind of look like a knockoff version really, and not my cup of tea. But they're coming in the brown, green and a violet dusty cactus colourway. So I'll give these a 3. Next up is the KD4, and this is something that's not been released, I suppose, for quite a while now, and it's not really something that you see in the UK too much, but it should be coming out in limited quantities, I guess, in the UK as well, because we've seen some of the other ones released, like the Weatherman. But this is probably the nicest KD4 in my eyes, and probably the most wearable. The Galaxies were nice, but this one's quite nice as well. Not something that I'm looking to buy, but it's still cool if you're going to be sort of playing basketball. Then a pair of sneakers like this is perfect. And then next on the list, I think was quite interesting, because we haven't seen too many of these types of colorways where they're quite sort of loud. And this is the blue metallic silver, they're calling it. So they had a supersonic version, which I think was released last year or the year before, and it had like a glow in the dark cage, TPU cage. And this one is just an all over blue color, but I think it looked kind of cool actually. I like the color blue anyway, so with this one I think it's just nice to have something not silver or white or black. And then the next one they're calling the Air Max DN SE. So this one is slightly different to the norm in the sense that the air units are got different colour, and maybe there's some other details on this which I can't sort of see from the photos at the moment, but it does look quite nice in terms of the colourway as well, because it's got that kind of Air Max Plus gradient effect going on, and this particular colourway does look nice, and you can't really beat sort of gold, black and blue. And then on July the 6th we've got another Nike Air Max, and this is another SE, and this is coming in the sort of Persian violet smoke grey colourway. And I actually like this version because it has a tick on the upper, which I think looks really cool actually, and sets the sneaker off quite nicely. I think otherwise the sneaker looks kind of sort of plain, I suppose. And the swoosh on there, I'm not sure if it's one of those ones where it appears on the medial or the lateral side, but I like that added extra. It just, I don't know, it just does something else to the sneaker, which makes it look a bit more better in my eyes. And then on July the 10th we have the Union LA Nike Field General. I thought this was releasing in June, late June, but I don't know if it's this particular colorway, but I know there's 3 different colorways. In my eyes this is like the nicest one. It kind of looks similar to the Jordan 4 Guava, but sort of reversed. But I do like the look of this one. The only thing that I will say is that obviously this is an adaptation of a cleat or a football soccer shoe, and for me, even though they've kind of put a different outsole on this, I think it's sort of unique to Union, this Union's Field General silhouette. Not a fan of I suppose trainers with outsoles that have like these mini studs, because they're not very good for lifestyle walking, and especially sort of in the wet. I'm sure they're fine for when you're playing soccer or football, but other than that, but the trainer does look very cool in my eyes though. And then next up, something this is probably I'm going to look to sort of cop, because I've never had a pair of these, and it's the Air Max Sunder, and this is in the Gold Deep Ocean colorway. This is the colorway that I actually like, but I know it's releasing in a kind of purple, a pink color, and then also a Volt yellow color. So I'll be sort of looking forward to seeing these release. I think it's looks quite a unique and cool sneaker. I'm not usually a fan of with the Nike swoosh having a small tick, but I like the look of this silhouette, especially from the top down view. And then we've got the Sabrina 2 Conductor. I think this is a nicer colorway than the purple that's released. Obviously, it's probably, you know, on the lighter side and maybe not so great for basketball in that respect. But at the same time, I still think it's a cool sneaker. And the next up, I kind of like the look of this model actually, which is the Air Pegasus 2K5. And this is coming in a silver colorway and also hyperviolet and blue colorways. And this silver one looks similar to the Vomero Photon pair that I've got, which is kind of like has that metallic silver overlays. I think with this model it's done something different to it, where it actually looks more appealing, and I think maybe they've kind of pared down the color blocking on this as well compared to some of the other GR colorways that have come out. And this one looks kind of more together in my eyes, and also not really a fan of these sort of mini swooshes, I think. But in this particular version of this colorway does work for me for some reason. And then next up we have the Jacquemus Nike Air Max 1 86, and there's 3 different colorways releasing for this, which is silver, white and red. And the theming again, so for my preferences, I'm not really a fan of these mini swooshes. I think it just makes the sneaker look really odd, and I'm just kind of used to, you know, having a big Nike swoosh on the sides. And with this one, it's got sort of a squared off air bubble unit. Not too much of a fan of these, in all honesty. And then this is a trainer that has sort of piqued my interest. Obviously I'm not going to be sort of doing any kind of break dancing or, like, you know, street dancing, but this is a pair that's coming out for that specific purpose really. So it's meant to be for dancing, and they look cool though. They look something that, you know, what Travis Scott would release, in all honesty. And maybe he could do a future collab on this, I don't know. But I do look kind of veering towards the brown colorway, and I might sort of pick these up if I can. I think they look really nice actually. Probably not much tech in there, I suppose, and I'm sure, you know, the outsole as well isn't too grippy. So you know, I think for dancing you need a more flex in your trainer. So maybe it's you know, gonna hopefully meet that criteria. And then on the 30th of June, the Nike SB Dunk Low Burnt Sunrise. This reminds me of the Adobe pair, which I think released last year, that I have a pair of. And it just looks very sort of run-of-the-mill. So there isn't sort of any other SBs coming out in July as far as I can see. So not, you know, so it gives you a bit of a I suppose, a break, because we've had some nice colorways and different versions of the SB Dunk coming out that came out over the last sort of couple of years really. So you know, this one's probably a miss anyway for me. And then we have the Adidas releases. So there's not too many of these, but the first one up for me is the Adidas Harden Volume 8 After Hours. I'm a big fan of this particular model, just the fact that it's sort of futuristic, you know, and kind of like looking towards the future, and looks different to other silhouettes as well. And the technology in there is quite nice on feet as well. But because I have the Pioneer version, I'm not really looking to grab this colorway. But if I didn't have the Pioneer, I'd definitely be in the market for these. And then we have this slide. So I'm always kind of looking at, you know, different slides and seeing what compares best to a sort of Yeezy slide. And this one looks very, very similar to that actually. And it looks, you know, to be on the sort of soft, squishy side, quite sort of chunky slide at the same time. And I might sort of check these ones out just to see what they're like. And then we also have a Stan Smith from Dime as well. So this is another sort of collab, and they've kind of done their work on this, which is in a core black colorway. Something that I'm not really going to pick up, but it's just interesting to sort of see Dime working on a Stan Smith model. And this is a pair of AU1s in the MX charcoal colorway. So again, Yeezy inspired, I suppose, with a mixture of different colours being in there. And I actually think it looks nice actually, but I think for me, I have a couple of pairs of AU1s at the moment. I'm not in the market to grab these, but if I didn't have those, I'd definitely be up for grabbing these. And I think the ones that I'm looking to grab is this pair, if it comes out, and hopefully not in limited numbers, is the AE1 Low MX Grey. I think this one will be sort of quite hyped up because it's the first low release. This is something that I would definitely grab and wear because I do like the look of the AE1 model. I just have a bit of an issue with the forefoot of the highs, and just feel a bit more sort of tightness around there. I've worn it a few times, and I think maybe this version might be better for me. but I do like the colorway, and I do actually like the lower cut version anyway. And then on 29th we have a Sporty and Rich Adidas Samba OG USA collab, and this one's kind of using obviously the USA colorways, so like an indigo color with the red and the white, and there's no pictures for it at the moment, but it's something to keep an eye out for. And hand in hand to that, there's also the Handball Spezial that's coming out as well with a similar colorway. I'm sure they're going to play around with the colors to make them different for each model. And then the final one we have is the Adistar cushion, and that one comes with a little medal as well on the lace loop, so it's a cool looking collab, and I do like the look of this particular model. But I have had the Adidas Response CLs, well, the Bad Bunny version, and also the Orquetros, and they're all kind of sort of similar feeling in terms of on foot, and they're slightly more on the firmer side, and I think this one probably isn't going to be that much different. But you know, see how it goes, and you know, the colorway looks really nice, in my opinion. And then we move on to the Asics releases. So the first one that's up is the Asics GT 2160 Paris. So I imagine this is coming out in time for the Paris Olympics. It's quite a simple colorway, but at the same time I kind of like the hits of Volt Yellow, and it's almost sort of peach color going around the sneaker with predominantly black and white. And the model's not the most comfortable models, but I do like it, you know, the look of it. It's a nice one for summer. And then we have this particular pair, which is the Gel-nyc 2055. I don't know too much about the backstory behind this, but obviously it looks like it's a take on the Gel-nyc, and the silhouette looks to be sort of more updated. It kind of looks slightly less aggressive than the standard Gel-nyc, and if I was to pick up a pair, I'd probably pick up the maybe the silver color, because I have the House Studios Gel-nyc, which is quite similar to the green and black pair. But they do look nice though, and I know with these particular trainers they're very, very comfortable on foot, similar to a Vomero. And with the New Balance releases, they don't tend to give too much in advance warning, but on the 1st of July we have the New Balance Fuelcell Rebel V4, which is a nice model and really sort of comfortable on foot and soft, and I kind of like the, you know, this quarry blue colorway, and there's also a heron colorway coming out, which is slightly different variations of blues. And then next up we have the Action Bronson New Balance 1906R Medusa Azul and the Rosewater. So this is on July the 12th. And for me, I've managed to grab a pair of these from the Action Bronson Specialising in Life website, which I was surprised to have. And so I haven't received them just yet, so I'm hoping they come in time for a review in the next week or so. And I know I've ordered them obviously from the, you know, I'm in the UK, and I've ordered them from, I guess it's the US website, and therefore they'll probably take a little bit of time to come through, I think. And they're supposed to be releasing on the New Balance website on the 12th of July, and the rumour mill is saying it's also going to be the Rosewater colourway that's releasing as well. Out of the 3 colourways that I've seen, I was actually after the Rosewater colourway because it looks the most different, and I'm a big fan of the 1906R anyway, so let's see. I'm not too much of a fan of this Medusa Azul, but obviously getting it for retail is a win for me. And then finally we have the Jordan releases, and first one that's up was quite a sort of a late announcement, I think, and it's the Air Jordan 1 with they're calling the MM Low Black Metallic Gold. I'm not too sure what the I suppose history is behind this, but it looks like a collab to me, and there isn't too much information online about this. However, it has like a mini swoosh, and with these sort of, I suppose, woven embroidery touches on the upper of the sneaker, it kind of looks more like a Jacquemus sneaker. However, it's not, and I'm guessing MM is the, I don't know, you know, who the collab is, but that's probably what it's referring to. It's not the nicest of sneakers in my eyes, and it kind of doesn't look like it's leather either. It looks more like a sort of nylon material to me in certain aspects of it. And then something that I would be maybe looking to cop, but I think it'll be quite difficult to get. I'm not going to be paying resale for these, but it's the Air Jordan 4 RM SP Nigel Sylvester collab. which is in this green colorway. I'm not the biggest fan of the green colorway, but I am intrigued by the silhouette. We haven't had too much of a backstory of this Jordan 4, and whether it was a cancelled low version from back in the day, I don't know, but that's what it feels like to me. And the fact that it has sort of bike Air or Nike Air for the GR versions is a cool thing as well to see. So I'm guessing there's some history around the this being a potential release back in the day in 1989, but didn't come out. And if I don't manage to grab a pair of these on retail, then I'll probably look to grab one of the GR colorways, because I saw like a white grey colorway that I was really interested in actually, and that one actually looked nicer than this. But I understand this being a collab is going to be hyped up anyway. And then up on the list on July the 6th is the Air Jordan 1 Retro High OG First in Flight. There's a few reviews online that have come out, and the leather quality looks really good on this. I'm not completely sold on this particular trainer, however it's still a cool looking trainer, and if you're after something with an obsidian type colorway, then this is something that you probably look to grab. I would want to sort of try and get a pair of Jordan 1 Storm Blues later on, but if they ever re-release, but this one probably not going to grab initially, and see if I can grab it on sale or something, but it's in women's sizing anyway. And the Jordan 3 Armour Maniere, then this is in black, like a black cement colorway, almost like a reverse of the original Jordan 3 that they released in 2021. And it's a nice looking shoe. It looks very premium. Again, I've seen some reviews online. However, it's one of those ones where I'm not really that fussed about having. I'm more interested in getting the Jordan 3 black cements. And then we have what they're dubbing the Air Jordan 1 Barons. So this is on July the 20th. And I actually like this. It's got the Chicago colour blocking on this, and I think it looks a really nice and sort of neutral sneaker. So for me, I'm definitely up for grabbing a pair of these if I can. And then this particular pair is the Jordan 4 Retro SC Paris, and it was inspired by the concrete surfaces in Paris, which is an odd inspiration to me. However, it does look cool. Again, seen some reviews online, and my only sort of thing about this is, depending on who has reviewed it or whose pictures you see, the upper grey kind of looks a bit off to me. I'm not sure why. In some people, some light I've seen it looks quite nice, but in others it kind of looks a bit off, where it's just like a bit more of like a dull colour. And also not a fan of the sort of craft netting, so where they've just got rid of the plastic TPU netting on there and just sort of imprinted it with the material, which I feel is a bit of a cost-cutting measure in my eyes. And I like the colour scheming, I do like the overall look of it, but it's just those details are kind of putting me off a bit, I suppose. And that is a rundown for the trainers for July. So there are some nice trainers in there. There's a few that I would look to sort of grab, and so very sort of sort of nice to sort of see a great month, because I think June was a bit quiet to me.